Hey, what's up, guys? Total Control 871, and I am monkeying around with my phone some more. And I have, I've always known that it can run more than one app at the time. So, what I've done today is I have activated the camera, the recorder, while I am surfing the web. So this is going to be a grand experimentation. Let's see if I can just move my camera app a little bit more out the way so I can read more of my screen. All right, you guys seem to still be, phone still seems to be recording me. All right, so unfortunately this means though that you don't really know. I can't really show you the site that I am surfing on, although I really have no reason to lie to you. This is from Facebook. Um, Michael Katz, spelled Katz. This was posted, I think, from Suburban Cyclist Unlimited. This is like a open-end letter maybe, and it reads as follows. Or it might be, I don't know. Do I really want to read this word for word? Now, this is going to be, I'll read it in part. If you want, you can always jump over to the site, check it out yourself. Okay, and it goes like this, to take the lane or not. So yes, this is a lane control open-ended letter. Mark Caruso recently posted on Facebook his experience of riding on the road in his lane and being admonished by a driver to move to the shoulder, only to discover that the driver was an SCU member. I think SCU is a cycling club. I don't really know if they say what SCU stands for, but I think it's a cycling club. Who wanted to call him, who called to him by name. I have been on innumerable SCU rides where I am riding to the right of center in the lane. Someone calls car back. That's a term used by cyclists on rides, group rides. And when I do not move to the right edge, I am subject to frantic, repeated calls to move to the right, and even chastisement by ride leaders and others in the group. I think he goes on to say that I think it's time that we have a reasoned, respectful dialogue about what the practice should be for club rides, for safe effectiveness and lane positioning. He goes on to quote, this is in PA, Pennsylvania. He goes on to quote their law, and it gets into basically the whole discussion of what is practical versus what is possible. You know, while at times this can and should include moving as far right as practical, the law specifically states that a bicycle need not move to the right where 1. It is unsafe to do so due to road conditions. 2. The road is only one lane in each direction. And 3. The right-hand lane is for turns only and the rider is going straight. Gee, now where have I heard that before? So yeah, it goes on to speak some more. Basically saying a lot of what I've been saying verbatim. It talks about the cyclist should not impede traffic if they are going substantially less than the flow of traffic. And I do agree with that. The issue is that the issue. I'm trying really hard not to get too cerebral with this thing because I do understand that we're talking about cycling, riding a bike. It truly is an E equals MC square equation. The passage of linear time. When it talks about basically what I'm saying is the police and prosecution would argue that I am not impeding traffic when I go around a parked car, a person walking, definitely their beloved move over law when passing a police vehicle, emergency vehicle. Okay. So these hazards that require me to move out into the lane for, I don't know, a handful of seconds. Okay. They're okay with that. But the question is, did I occupy the lane? Did I? How long do I have to be in the lane for it to be an occupation? I don't know. You tell me. And of course, prosecution and the courts and the police, they would go on to say, oh, well, Mr. Dunbar, it's not so much the amount of time, but the effect that you're having on traffic. Oh, okay, we can talk about that. We can talk about the effect that I'm having on traffic. Matter of fact, we can do more than talk about it. All you got to do is go to my YouTube page and you can see the effect that I have on traffic. Very, very nil. Okay? So, my lane occupation, do you want to call it occupation or do you not want to call it occupation? What constitutes occupation? In the Title 39 414 law, there is no connotation about the delineation of time, how much time the cyclist spends in the lane of travel. It only references the impediment of traffic. Did I impede traffic? Absolutely not. Did people have to slow down and change lanes? Sure, if they so choose. But that's no more so than any other vehicle. What about a back-end loader? I posted videos of that. Construction equipment that can't go much faster than a bicycle. It gets to go down the road. Provided it's on rubber tread tires. I can understand them not letting a tank tread type construction vehicle because it'll just end up destroying the road. But rubber tread tires, front end loaders, things like that can't go much faster than a bicycle, they're allowed to utilize the road. And what happens when vehicles come up in back of those vehicles? Oh, they slow down and they change lanes. Imagine that. And they do so without creating a massive backlog or impediment. There is no great American traffic jam. All the same things that happen when I utilize lane control. No great American traffic jam. Yeah, I get a couple of angry honks. Once again, traffic honks at each other anyway. So even in that regard, I'm not much different. I'm just one more type of vehicle that traffic has to cope with. Let's see. I only half read the article here. By singling up and moving to the right edge of the road, that's exactly what we encourage cars to do. By rotely? I have no idea what that word means. Rotely. By rotely? I think they mean rotation. Rotationally. It might be a misspell. I don't know. But I think that's what the word means. By rotely and routinely pulling over to the right, we are sending a message to drivers that 1, we are yielding the right of way to them, and 2, that we are creating space for them to pass us within the lane, even though there really isn't enough room to safely pass us within 4 feet of clearance. There are some really extreme cyclists out there. Vehicular cyclist. There is a catchphrase in the vehicular cycling community that goes, every lane is a bike lane. I don't really know. I'm not going to agree or disagree with that because, frankly, let's see. I don't want to sound like I'm half-ass skirting the issue because I am championing a cause. I just, I can't champion every faction of that cause. I guess that's what I'm getting at. Um, I can't champion every faction of the cause. So all I'm really doing is trying to champion a safe a safe corridor for myself, Um, what can I say? They talk about, the whole 4 feet of clearance. 4 feet. I've heard it 4 feet. I've heard it 3 feet. Okay, let's talk about clearance space. I'm going to give you two acronyms. DCP and one that's a bit more famous. 007. New Jersey, and I think, because what I'm reading to you from, it's from Pennsylvania, and yes, I understand that is Pennsylvania, and I am in New Jersey. But that does segue me to exactly what I'm talking about here tonight. I would have to do a Google search to find out, but New Jersey and I think one other state. There are only two states in the Union that are what we cyclists call 007 states. A 007 state means that you have a license to kill. You have a license to kill us cyclists. How? I'm about to explain it. With a DCP, that stands for Dead Center Pass. Give you a quick bit of a reference. When I was a kid, we would lock arms side by side and walk down the sidewalk chanting, anybody in our way, knock them right down, kaboom. We'd do a chorus line kick. Kind of gay when you think about it, but what can I say? We were kids, bored. So we would do this, and of course it was meant to coerce and bully people off of the sidewalk. Now, we weren't actually going around pursuing people to kick, but like the chant says, if you're in our way, then we're going to kick you right down. This is the mindset that happens in a 007 state where a driver performs a DCP, dead center pass. Dead center passes are done for a couple of different reasons. You'll have your elderly that rely very heavily on road markings to keep their vehicle, center of the lane. Their vision is failing, so they rely very heavily on those road markings as they go about, and they can't really judge distance and depth and things like that. So they just keep a dead center, and if they pass you, good, but they could very well just as easily hit you as well. Another type of DCP driver would be your social media person, mobile devices, cell phones, or just generally distracted. They because they're down, they're used, they're looking at their phones at the 6 o'clock position of the steering wheel, and they're just they're using their peripheral vision to, excuse me, to keep their vehicle dead center of the lane as they go down, and that's how they are navigating. And, if there is, a cyclist along the lane there that needs clearance, they could very well indeed hit you. They quite often do hit you. And then there is the homicidal DCP driver. The homicidal DCP driver, they see you. They're not drunk. They're not distracted. They're not impaired. They see you. But like the chant goes, anybody in my lane, drive them right down. Kaboom. And when all is said and done, they'd be well within their legal right to have done it. New Jersey does not have a 3-foot law. For them to get around you, they would have to veer out of their lane, which technically is breaking the law. It's not that technical either, because police stop drivers all the time for failure to maintain their lane. And they could collide into a vehicle in the left-hand lane. These drivers see you, and they don't have a problem at all passing you dangerously close. Inches, centimeters, or just flat out hit you. What are you going to do? It's not like there's a law that protects you. Hey, Your Honor, I kept my vehicle in the center of the lane. I don't know what else you wanted me to do. What kind of law would you even ticket the driver with? What law did they break? They maintained their lane, didn't they? And after all, it's not like they hit anybody important. Not like a cop. It was just a cyclist. You know, those disposable people. So what can I say, people? That is New Jersey for you. It is a DCP state. It is a 007 state where your driver's license gives you a license to kill. All right. Hopefully this little experiment of mine worked. That's what we cyclists have to do. We rely on the mercy of drivers willing to bend or break the law when they pass us. All we cyclists need is the full scope of the law. Title 39, 414, points 1 and 2. We are entitled to all rights and duties of the road. A duty is a responsibility. I have a responsibility to select the correct directional lane of travel. If I am not turning left or right, I do not belong in those lanes. That is my duty. That is my responsibility. If my directional lane of travel that I am in, such as the ones on Tilton Road, are only 10 feet wide, a road that is heavily frequented with HGVs, 8.5 feet wide vehicles, their wheelbases almost touching the sides of the painted lines. It is Euclidean logic. There is not enough room and we cyclists should not be asked or expected to just trust some random driver who is willing or would be willing to break the law. A truck driver, veer out of your lane. Zigzag, swerve. You know, all of those things that cops can stop you for, give you a slew of tickets that can impede your CDL. You know, that thing that you feed your family with. Yeah. Of course, it doesn't do you very much good either, having killed somebody with your truck doing a DCP. The lane control is the only logical, viable solution. The impact on the flow of traffic is almost non-existent. Trust in the learned vehicular cyclist such as myself. We're not out there careening along, meandering along in the lane of travel, causing a traffic jam. Think of it like this, and I'll close with this. When a cyclist utilizes lane control, it is akin to a phlebotomist putting on the rubber tourniquet as they're about to draw blood. Does it constrict the flow of blood? A little bit, and it serves a good purpose. It lets a cyclist get to our final destination without getting killed. But what you're charging us with, me with, is having caused a traffic heart attack, a blockage, a traffic arterial blockage. This is what I'm being charged with. Video footage clearly shows that this is not the case at all. Cyclist lives matter. Lane control saves lives. Total Control 871.